Hello, people. So I want to talk about how you literally have to be willing. You're going to have to be okay with being lonely when you are trying to advance in your abilities, especially if you know that you're limited as a human being, is that you have way more abilities than you're using right now. I'm going to say a lot of us, you know what I notice about people and just whatever, beings in general, is that they most of the time they adapt to their environments. And what I'm saying is a lot of people's abilities are not coming as quickly as they should. Now some people are getting more abilities. I'm saying it's not coming as quickly as it should because of their environments. Because they are around other people, family or whoever, co-workers who still live the same way. You know, we should be at least along the lines of being able to telepathically communicate. Now, some people are good at telepathy, but what they do is people have such evil in their hearts that they send telepathic messages to somebody else to get them to do what they want to do because that other person is unaware of they thinking their thoughts of their own. So they say, oh yeah, let me do such and such. Oh, let me do this, right? And you do have some people that do know how to send telepathic messages. But a lot of times, unfortunately, in a society where people's hearts are kind of black, when people's abilities do come up, they use it for a lot of bad things because you're in a society where people are just black. And I'm not talking about, the race or the color. Their hearts are black. I mean, they're just void. They just don't care, But what I'm saying, though, is... say for me, why do I still want to eat every day when I know that I don't have to eat every day because days don't exist? It only exists in my mind. Why do I hold on to it? And the reason why is because I'm still interacting in this society. It's really hard to cut a lot of things out when you interact in a society where everybody is pretty much, it's like you're the only one. It's nothing wrong with standing out. What I'm saying is that most of our abilities would have been much more higher. Oh, that's right, money. Money. Everybody needs to make sure they get money. Not everybody. Some people don't have to worry about money ever. Some people don't ever have to worry about money. But at the same time, a lot of those people, they're not interested in any kind of ascension either. They just like being rich and materialistic. And the ones who are interested in ascension and working on themselves and trying to advance their abilities, well, then they have to work on that whenever hours they have left in the day to work on it. And then the rest of it is spent on taking care of their family and paying the bills in the house. And so it's like, even if you put 2 to 3 hours of cultivating yourself, the majority of the time is still spent on participating in this society to take care of yourself because your conscious awareness is still in this type of world. Your conscious awareness is still in this type of whatever reality it's in. When I say this, it's basically whatever reality you're in. I realized that what I need to do, you cannot be around people, and I'm going to call it low consciousness because that's what it is. If you're trying, and I'm speaking to myself when I say you, but if you're trying to advance as a being, I'm going to say as a being because human is the lowest level. Human is not the end all be all. Human is the lowest level. Literally, it's dense, very dense material world, right? And then, people don't understand, we're like literally dead. I'm not going to say we, because I'm not going to consider myself dead with the type of work I've done on myself. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not going to consider myself dead because of the work I've done on myself, though. Not because I feel like I'm special. It's the work I've done on myself and it's things I've seen. And I can go a lot further if I'm not around people. Literally just not be around people, because even if you go somewhere in nature, the type of stuff that I want to achieve, you still can't talk to a lot of people in nature about it. But at the same time, when you're in an area where it's more nature, you're not around that many people to even be that affected by consciousness like that. Like around here, it's enough to work all the time, but then you're around a certain consciousness, you're living under a certain consciousness. And I don't like that. It's time to break apart from that. I have been getting messages. I feel like I have, it's not a strong pull yet, but I think it's eventually going to be a strong pull. I'm being told specifically where I'm supposed to go. See, I don't make any moves until I'm told where I'm supposed to go. Because really, we are in an illusion in our own minds. So what we think we're seeing with everything that's coming out with the news and everything, those things don't really exist and only exist in our own illusions. It only exists in our own illusions. What people call dreams, they're just in another reality. This what you call waking, which is actually might be sleep, but what you call waking is just really where your conscious awareness is, but it still could be part of a dream. Your conscious awareness is just in this particular type of reality. But there are other realities that you are in, and you could be in a reality where you're living a lot better than where you are now. I don't have to work on getting to that reality myself. You know, I want to work on the reality of getting to that myself. But yeah, really. So I was saying that when I decide to move or go somewhere, not necessarily move or go somewhere for a little while, I like to be instructed by spirit to go there, because, you know, just getting away from a certain place. Oh, I need to get away from here. Like, well, if you're in an illusion, well, I'm not going to say you. I know that this is an illusion, right? And I know this is basically the mind. Okay? It could be a little deeper than that, though. Okay, it could be a little deeper than that, but for the most part, this is an illusion. Well, what I have known with the work I've done, you do create your own timelines too. If you do work on yourself and you are intentional in getting to a certain place, you keep focusing on it, you're gonna keep getting the answer. That's for sure. You're gonna keep getting the answer, because energy flows where attention goes, and you end up creating your own timelines. Okay, and so it's really not about just trying to get away from a certain place or get here. Now, if you need to go somewhere immediately, that's different. But as far as getting away from a certain place because of stuff that people keep hearing on the news, or this and that is about to happen, and then you see it just doesn't happen because something might be happening in their timeline. Then again, people don't understand is what they're taking in and what they're agreeing to. They agree to stuff like that and say, I'm just trying to warn you because this is what's coming. When they say that, they are agreeing to their timeline, and they try to get other people to agree to it. That's why those kind of people have the biggest channels. Okay, and they try to get other people to agree to it, and when other people agree to it, it just might happen because you have a certain number of people that's agreeing to a timeline. Because we are all creators, right? We are all creators. And so you say, well, this is what's coming. This is what's coming. And you get a certain amount of people to agree to the same thing that's happening. And so you have a lot of different realities where those, like you might just exist in a reality where you might be in what you call it, one of those camps. You know what I mean? One of those camps. Like in Walmart or the grocery store, so no food on the shelves. You might be in a reality where that's happening. Okay, so just be careful, because to be under a consciousness that agrees to that type of stuff, and they always call you themselves warning you and say, are you ready for what's coming? No, why does it have to come if you don't want it to come? Everybody's a creator, so why do you have to let somebody else control your destiny when everybody's creators? Everybody is agreeing to what a few people who is trying to hold all the power that's not even real. They only exist in the mind. That's the only place they exist. And on top of that, they exist in the lower mind. That's why they don't want you ascending, because they only can exist in an illusion. They can only exist in an illusion. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to come out of illusion. It's harder than crack to come out of an illusion, because you think everything is real. You're bogged down with responsibilities. You got to pay bills, this and that. You got to get up and do something. You always have schedules and stuff to do. This is worse than crack. It really is worse than crack. I don't criticize crackheads anymore. I never did, but I certainly do now. I do not criticize crackheads because this right here is crack. This illusion is crack, and we think it's real. That's why it's crack. And it's hard to get out of it because it's a refusal to believe it's fake when it is. It's a virtual reality. And, you know, it's worse than crack. It is worse than crack. Okay? And the reason why it's worse than crack, because you can barely have a conversation with anybody about this. See, when people have a drug problem, there's other people they can go to. If they want to get off drugs, guess what? There are so many places they can go for support. But when it comes to this right here, getting about this illusion, getting into a higher mind, you can't hardly have that conversation with nobody. That's why I say it's worse than crack. And when you're under a consciousness where you can't even hardly talk to nobody because that's just how low the consciousness is, it's hard to rise up like that because it's hard to keep being mixed in. That's like you working on yourself and you clean yourself every day, and then when you get up around the low consciousness, you jumping back in the garbage for several hours a day, and then you go back and work on yourself and you clean yourself off, but the next thing you do is go back and you got to jump in the garbage again because you're in the low consciousness area. So I think, you know, this don't even bother me because I don't even have family no more. I mean, I stopped talking to my family anyway, so it doesn't bother me. I'm not dating. So this is not going to be hard for me. But for some people, they got to deal with the fact if they're trying to really get up in their abilities and they know this is not the end-all be-all, they know being a human is not the end-all be-all. Some people know who they are. Some people are getting codes. Some people are getting a lot of things. Don't say nothing because they can't talk to nobody. Because you can't talk to nobody. I would like to have a group. I want a support group for people who understand that this is a virtual reality, or even if you call it a holographic world, either way you know it's an illusion, and, you know, working on the process of ascension. That's a good support group to have, especially if you're trying to work on getting out. I'm not talking about, I see a lot of conscious people that talk about this stuff, but they just talk. Literally, they talk. Because if they're so conscious, I've been seeing them for the past 5-6 years. Why haven't they left yet? Why are they still here? They know too much to still be here. Portals been open for them to get out of here. Portals have been open. So why am I still seeing them? See, so it's a lot of people that's so-called conscious, but they're not interested in moving nowhere because they still have a lot of attachments. I'm talking about people who don't have any more attachments. And I'm not talking about like dark entities that keep messing with them. I'm talking about attachments to the world like you don't want to leave. Like you do not want to leave. See, because there's a lot of people that could be conscious, but they don't want to leave. They don't want to go nowhere because they're having too much of fun in this false world. They're having too much of a good time. So it's dangerous to be around that kind of person too, because their consciousness is only so high. When you have desires to stay in this world, I don't care how much you know. When your desire is still here, don't matter how much you know. You're low consciousness, and that's not an insult. So I wouldn't mind a support group for people who really want to release attachments to this world altogether, especially if you know where you really come from and you're trying to get there. I wouldn't mind a support group for that, you know. I wouldn't mind putting it together, but I never put anything together before. But I mean, if this is my idea, you know, maybe sometime if I'm supposed to do it. I don't like to jump into anything that I'm not going to stick to. I don't want to jump into anything that I'm not sticking to. If I'm not sticking to it, I won't get it started because I don't like to disappoint people and be like a bad mother. You know, start something, then don't stick to it, then abandon folks. Like, no, if I'm not sticking to it, it won't be started because I don't want to be that kind of person. Because I'm not that social. I'm not that social. I am social, very social with people that have that same mindset to get the hell on out of this illusion. Basically, it's an illusion, but it's a little bit more than that. Because, and I heard somebody else say this, and then I saw something just earlier that reminded me of what that person said. When you are waking up, when you do remove what you call nanobots and nanotechnology, and certain spies see that you coming out of the illusion, they have their agents, like the Smiths on Matrix. They have their agents looking at you. All of a sudden, people got a problem with you. You don't know what you did. People looking at you. Why are these strange people looking at you? You see what I'm saying? So like, it's your own illusion, but at the same time, there's monitors on your brain that you don't know that's on your brain. So when you start removing nanobots and waking up, you have monitors where alarms go off to say this person is waking up. And then, hey there, the dog's coming out? Are the dogs coming out? Are they walked already?
No, they're. I'm gonna go over to. I'm gonna drop the slider off, and then I'm gonna go to the store.
Oh,
get
okay.
some ice cream, and then then at that time, if you want to walk them.
Oh, that's all right. I'll just come back tomorrow.
All right, either way.
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Yes, the cat is out the bag. I love dogs. Anyway, I used to go to it's this thing when I used to live in LA. I used to go to this place. Where was it called? It was in the valley. It wasn't North Hollywood, but it was somewhere along that area. It was somewhere along that area, but it was not North Hollywood. I forgot what it was called. But anyway, LA, Los Angeles. And I used to go to this place called a dog cafe, and I used to pay to stay there an hour and pet the dogs, because I can't take care of one. See, I cannot take care of one. I love dogs. I'm not in a position to take care of dogs. I'm not home enough. I could have the money to take care of a dog, but I like to be home and be able to give the dog the attention. I don't want to just be there. I get there and I'm too tired to even play with it, give it any attention. I don't like that. I want to be able to give my dogs attention, or dog. I can't do dogs. Dog. You know? So yeah, I see people with dogs. Hey, when you gonna bring your dogs out? I want to go walk them or something because I like dogs. That is where I get my joy. I mean, joy comes from within, but also I like to find things to do to give me joy too. And I like dogs. But anyway, I was drinking some water. That's it though. Is that, oh yeah. So when they see you waking up, you have monitors on you. All these satellites they call in space, you know, it's only a few real organic people. It's only a few real organic people. And it don't matter what color they are. I don't want to get stuck on color because people like to do that. It's not about color. But, and so you have monitors that alarms. I've seen alarms go off, not with my physical naked eye, with the real eyes. I've seen alarms go off. And so they got monitors on you when you start to rise in consciousness. So you got to be, look, when you meditating by yourself and you rising up in consciousness, you got to do that in stealth with your mind. Like you got to do that in stealth with your mind. You got to keep them from seeing what you're doing with the third eye. They're looking at you through the third eye, because the third eye, you're not the only one to see yourself in the third eye. What you're seeing through the third eye, other people can see that you're seeing. Okay? And so they're watching you with what's called the third eye. That's why I don't care for bragging on the third eye. It's good to have it. Like you do see what's going on in the false world, because the third eye to me is for the false world. You're not going to really see the spirit world, the real spirit world, that's on a much higher dimension. You probably won't see that too much with a third eye. The third eye is for this low consciousness. That's just my experience now. That's not what anybody else seemed to be saying, but that's my experience. I'm going to say this tidbit. Because most people's pineal glands are calcified, so they're not using no other real. They're not using any other eye. They're not using any other eye to see the real world, because most people's pineal glands are calcified. So even when you see people that especially have really very little pineal glands, and very little, and they talking about third eye, that lets you know that's an eye for the lower dimensions, for the lower frequencies. That is not the real spiritual eye, because most people's pineal glands are calcified and can't even view through that eye. Okay? So I'll stop there. But anyway, yeah. That's it. I gotta go. It's late because I had to work a little late today, but I don't do that every single day. So, but anyway, I'll talk later.